Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Urban Legends video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's get back to this series here. Thank you so much for your continued suggestions. This one has to do with a fascinating entry, one involving a sort of phenomenon that has happened throughout multiple parts of the US. In fact, in a little bit, I'll chronicle what may be my encounter with regards to this phenomenon, and this was over there at Camp Ford in Tyler, Texas. Some of you may have seen it on my live stream, and I'll at least include some of that information a little bit later on. But in this case, it has to do with a mysterious, haunted, almost cursed tree that has its own lore, its own legends, that's located there in New Jersey. No one really knows 100% why the tree is as quote-unquote evil as it is, but to this day people state that there's this sinister set of forces that seem to accompany this tree, and when you visit it, who knows, you may just have your own type of experience. But I'll explain more on that here, including the possible origins associated to it. In fact, you're looking at a picture of it now. It has a very, very unique name. It's known as the Devil's Tree. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the interesting information associated with this pretty popular urban legend there in New Jersey. So here's essentially all the info. If you wanted to find exactly where this tree is, you have to go again to New Jersey. You have to go to a place called Bernard's Township, which is a so-so town in terms of population. I was reading somewhere it probably has about 25,000 plus or so. But somewhere there in a field in Somerset County, that's where this tree is located. In fact, what makes it very spooky, what makes it very creepy is the fact that it's by itself. It's a solemn oak tree that just happens to be by itself within a very, very vast field. And when people go there, it has to be somewhere where it's, unfortunately, like where it's at in the field. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but I believe it's deep within private property. So if you're going to go explore it, again, I highly recommend you get permission associated with that, and then you want to make sure you're not trespassing. But yes, it's located deep within that field, and there's so much type of lore associated with it as far as its origins. All of it still remains mysterious to this day, but I'm going to try to chronicle some of that stuff here as to why this thing is so creepy. But yeah, people go into it to this day. People that are adventurous, people that are looking to do some paranormal stuff, or others that just want to find out what exactly is going on. That's where you have to go. You have to go to Bernard's Township, a little field out there in Somerset County, and then that's where you find this tree. Now, as far as this tree and what it does, besides giving off a sort of atmosphere that's just so creepy, apparently, because it's cursed, if you try to do anything to the tree in terms of bringing it down or causing it harm, maybe trying to stop the evil, in other words, this tree is supposed to actually strike back. Not literally, but in other words, it's supposed to fight back more on the curse side. If you do anything like that in terms of any harm to the tree, then you in turn will be harmed afterward. Either something will happen to you by accident, quote unquote, or something more sinister will happen to you, even up to death. And there have been attempts, apparently, with regards to this tree to try to bring it down. People have gone up there with axes and even with chainsaws. Some of them old marks, some of them new marks, but apparently nobody has been able to do anything in terms of fully bringing down this tree. Maybe people have tried just as an offhanded attempt, or maybe they really did try something serious, but something else prevented them from essentially stopping them, in other words, from doing it. But who knows essentially why it's still there to this very day, considering how many of these circumstances, these urban legends as far as to its evil nature stand. Now, why this tree is so evil, there's several theories again. One of the most popular ones has to do with this, like one of the most off-mentioned ones, the one that readily pops into people's mind is this one. Some point in the past there in Bernard's Township, there were KKK meetings that were happening there in that area, and for whatever reason the group decided to make that tree and the surrounding field its focal point. It decided to make it almost like its unofficial outside headquarters, and when that happened, there were many meetings there were also demonstrations, but very unfortunately there was also many activities, including lynchings, that occurred there, and in some cases right there with that tree. That's just the legend associated with it. No one has any real 100% proof, either written or anything else like photographic or anything like that. But that's the lore tied to it, that this place already with those KKK meetings and then with those lynchings, and especially of innocent people, innocent African Americans, that caused that area to permeate with evil. And it's just stayed there to this very day. And because of that surroundings, everything else absorbing the evil nature of the meetings and the people that were doing them, that also added to the overall spooky feeling that the location has. But yes, that's at least one theory as far as that. The other theory is this. There's the idea that there's another sinister force, maybe even something involving the devil himself, that seems to be there within that area. You don't exactly see him per se, but you do see his vehicle. Let me explain that here in just a moment. The story goes that anything that happens to you, like let's say around that road, could be calm or it could be the scare of your life if you suddenly have either a truck or a big car suddenly start to chase you. I don't know exactly why people would be out there in the middle of this solemn looking road just by themselves, walking or in some cases driving. But either way, though, there have been tales of pranksters, thrill seekers, and innocents that have come across this road, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, either again a big truck or a big car starts chasing you. Like it is actually going straight towards you, almost like a scene out of a horror movie where you have one of those evil guys within those big trucks just chasing you down from behind you, getting nose to nose when it comes to the cars and the trucks. Bumpers, in other words, and then just minutes away or inches away from essentially causing you to have a big crash. And then finally, when you think everything is about to be gloom and doom for you, these headlights again blaring behind you, the horns blaring as well, blind to it because of the rear view mirror and so on. All of a sudden, when you look behind you, it's gone. Everything is gone. No car, no truck, no headlights, no horns, nothing. It's as if the vehicle itself just 100% vanished. That is tied to the tree itself. For whatever reason, if you go across that road, you may have a chance again of having this type of sinister vehicle chasing you, which could actually be tied to the devil himself. Either he's driving that particular vehicle or one of his minions is also tied to it too. And then in a more real world type scenario as to why this tree has a sinister outcome, and this is actually more tragic in of itself, it's this. There's the idea that because this location is so remote, especially that tree just being out there in the middle of nowhere, people that have gone on to commit suicide have done so in that tree. Like it's a quiet place, very private. You would have all the time in the world to be able to do this. Nobody would stop you. And so you would be able to just walk on out there, climb up the tree, use a rope, and then that's it. So apparently this has been an alleged site of multiple suicides. People discover the bodies afterward. Maybe they were reported missing. Maybe this was a location that the person that committed suicide would give hints on earlier. And then that's when friends and family members go have police seek out this location, and sure enough, they find that person there. Either way, though, this has become a tragic site for those particular suicides, and whatever type of energy that comes from those suicides has stayed within that tree itself, which is another theory, again, as to why this thing is so cursed, so doom and gloom whenever you happen to be surrounding it. It's the idea that all of these souls, all these sad souls, are still there too this very day. And then another thing that you can do there, if you wanted to take almost like a remnant home with you when it comes to this tree, is this. If you're brave enough to put your hand on the tree itself, the idea is your hand will have these blackish, oily stains. That's how much the evil is within the tree itself. It'll cause these stains to come out onto your hands, and maybe they go away, maybe they take a couple of days to do so, but there would be no other reason for those stains to be there. Obviously, like a tree itself would not normally cause such stains, but now they are there on your hand. And it's almost like a telltale sign that you had visited the tree and it was able to touch it. And then that's where you got the physical remnants of it afterward. But yes, so much info again with regards to this devil's tree located there in New Jersey. If anybody has anything else on a more local level, maybe some of you have been able to go to the tree itself, let me know. I'd definitely love to hear what that type of experience is. If this was a location I could visit, I would definitely be able to do so. In fact, I visited almost a parallel one to this, a tree that's also very cursed, very set with its own lore, and you're looking at it now. This one is located in Camp Ford there in Tyler, Texas. If you go to Camp Ford, as I've done multiple live streams that in the past, multiple videos as well, it is very much indeed a very haunted place. It's very evil too, because of the souls, the guys there that were killed during their stay there within Camp Ford. A lot of them had died from sickness. Some others have died naturally, but there were others that were basically killed within that camp, and then also that included minorities such as African Americans as well, and they were hung from one of those trees. I believe the tree itself, the hanging tree, is the one you're looking at here, and that's the one that has a lot of energy, a lot of dark energy associated with it. In fact, someone else had told me in Camp Ford, there is this sinister energy that walks around that location. You can hear it moving about you whenever you're there, and you can also see it with some reddish eyes. I have seen the reddish eyes there at Camp Ford on one of my visits there late at night. I did see the red eyes looking back at me, and it was very, very startling to be able to see this. But yes, that's at least a close comparison to a devil's-like tree, something where there was a lot of bad things that occurred and caused that tree to essentially absorb things. But yeah, just wanted to give my own close local perspective when it comes to a similarity here. But again, if anybody has any other info that they'd like to place, then please post those comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.